There's a particular kind of quiet that settles over central Pennsylvania this time of year. You know the one. It's early October. The leaves on the trees in Rothrock Forest are a blaze of glory, but it's a dying fire. The air gets crisp, sharp in your lungs, and the wind moving through the mountains sounds, well, it sounds lonely. It sounds ancient. People who aren't from around here think of these woods as peaceful. They aren't. They're just quiet. And there's a world of difference between the two. I was driving home to State College just last night, taking that dark stretch of 322 over the Seven Mountains, and that wind kicked up. It made a sound that reminded me of static. The sound of a voice trying to push through a world of noise. And it brought back a memory I've kept locked away for nearly 30 years. A story that belongs to an old friend of mine, and a promise I'm finally ready to keep. His name was Silas. Silas Blackwood. He's been gone a long time now, but he was one of those unforgettable characters, carved from granite and stubbornness. A long-haul trucker from the old school. Now, Silas was a storyteller, mind you. He was full of them. He'd tell you about the time he saw a bona fide UFO hanging over a salt flat in Utah, or the phantom hitchhiker he picked up outside of Reno who vanished from the passenger seat. They were great stories, told with a wink and a grin over a cup of burnt coffee. But they were just that. Stories. Road-weary tall tales to pass the time. In all the years I knew him, I only ever heard him tell one story that he truly, unshakably believed. And it was the one story he never told with a smile. It was the story that broke him. It started back in the late 90s. I was helping him clean out his old garage. He was finally retiring, selling the rig that had been his whole world. The place smelled of diesel, old vinyl, and stale coffee. The holy trinity of a trucker's life. Tucked away in a rusty toolbox, buried under a set of tire chains, I found an old beat-up micro-cassette recorder. Next to it was a small shoebox, sealed with brittle masking tape. I picked it up and found one tape on top, separate from the others, with just 2 words scrawled on the label in his neat, blocky handwriting. Them kids. I held it up. What's this, Silas? Another one of your ghost stories? The change was instantaneous and terrifying. The good-natured grin fell from his face like a stone. He snatched the tape from my hand, his knuckles white. The color drained from his face, leaving behind a gray, papery look I'd never seen on him. He just stared at that little piece of plastic, and for the first time, I saw old Silas, the man who'd faced down blizzards and bandits, look truly afraid. He made me promise, right then and there, not to listen to it, not until after he was gone. He said the story needed to be told, but he couldn't bear to hear it again. He passed away in 2008, and that box has been in my attic ever since. A heavy, silent weight. Until last night. That wind, that static, it made me remember my promise. So today, I'm going to tell you Silas's story. I'm going to tell you what he heard on a cold December night in 1997, on a forgotten stretch of Interstate 80. You have to understand, the life of a trucker back then was a solitary one. The CB radio was your only companion through those long, dark nights. It was a community of voices in the void. Silas usually just listened, a quiet observer. But he always had his recorder running, patched into the CB. A force of habit. A habit that, on one particular night, captured a nightmare. He was hauling lumber east through the Allegheny Mountains. It was late, maybe 2 in the morning, and a nasty winter storm was blowing in. The radio was mostly quiet when a panicked voice broke through the static. The man didn't use a road name, which was the first red flag. He just came on the air, his voice tight with fear. The tape hissed for a moment, and then the man's voice cut through, trembling. He said, "Break, break. Anyone on this channel? Come back. I'm at the Marion Brooks rest stop eastbound. Mile marker 135. Is anyone out there? Over." Silas told me he almost didn't answer. But something in the man's voice, a tremor of real fear, made him key his mic. He told the man he was about 20 miles west and asked what the trouble was. For a long moment, there was only the crackling hiss of an open channel. Silas thought maybe the man's signal had faded, but then his voice returned, quieter this time, like a strained whisper. There's someone outside my truck." Silas replied, trying to be a calming voice, suggesting it was probably another driver. The man's response was quick, sharp. No, it's not. It's kids, 2 of them, just standing there in the snow. Kids. At 2 in the morning, in a blizzard, miles from any town. Silas asked for a description. The voice that came back was shaky. "They're just kids. A boy and a girl, not dressed for the weather. Just dark coats, hoodies, maybe. I can't see their faces clearly. They're just staring at the cab." Right as Silas was about to suggest their car broke down, the man on the tape took a sharp, sudden intake of breath. "Oh, God. They're moving. They're coming to the door." Silas urged the man, "Just talk to them through the window, driver. Don't open the door." But all the tape picked up was his short, hitched breaths. And then, a new sound. Through the static, you could just make out a soft, rhythmic tapping. The sound of a small knuckle on the thick glass of a truck window. The trucker's terrified whisper came again. "They're right here. They're right outside my window." The tapping stopped, and then a new voice appeared on the recording. A child's voice, monotone and unnervingly calm. It said, "Let us in." The trucker sounded bewildered. He asked who they were. The same child's voice replied, flat and empty. "We need to use your phone. Our parents will be here soon. Let us in." The trucker offered to make a call for them, but then another voice joined in, a little girl's this time, just as lifeless as the boys. She said, "No. You have to let us in. We can't come in unless you say it's okay. We can't come in unless you say it's okay." Silas said that line made the hair on his arms stand up. It wasn't a request. It was a statement of rules. He got back on the radio, his voice firm, loud. "Driver, do you copy me? Do not open that door." The man on the other end started to sob, a choked, desperate sound. He cried out, "You don't understand." Their eyes, I can see their eyes now. Oh God, their eyes. They're black, all black. No white in them, nothing. Just black, like holes. The tapping on the window started again, faster. The calm, monotone child's voice returned, but now it had a sharp, angry edge. "It's cold. We just want to come in. It won't take long," the girl's voice added. "We're hungry." The trucker screamed at them to go away. The tape recorded a loud bang, like he'd slammed his fist on the inside of his own door. The pounding outside suddenly stopped. For a few seconds, there was nothing but the man's ragged breathing. Then, he whispered, as if in relief, "They're gone. They walked away, toward the woods. Oh, thank God. Silas felt a wave of relief himself. He told the man to sit tight and lock his doors, promising he'd be there in 10 minutes. The man thanked him. That was the last time Silas heard his voice. He kept the channel open, no response. When he finally pulled up the ramp to the rest area, he saw it. A single truck at the far end of the dark lot. The final part of the recording is Silas himself, his voice low and grim, speaking into his recorder's microphone. He described the scene. The freight liner, its engine still running. The driver's side door swinging open in the wind. The cab was empty. The driver's wallet, his warm coffee, his logbook, all there. But the man was gone, and there were no footprints in the snow around the truck. None, except for his own. It was a perfect, undisturbed blanket of white. Then Silas saw it. On the inside of the windshield, in the thin film of condensation, was a handprint. A small, perfect handprint, like that of a child, smudged on the inside. The recording clicks off there. The state troopers found the driver was a man named Michael Kent, and he had simply ceased to exist. That night broke something in Silas. He sold his rig, but he couldn't leave the road. That shoebox I found wasn't just full of tapes. It was filled with his life's work after that night. Notebooks, maps, scraps of paper. He became an investigator, a collector of whispers. He spent the last 10 years of his life in a beat-up RV, chasing shadows. His notebooks are a chilling chronicle. He documented dozens of stories, filtering out the obvious hoaxes, looking for a pattern. He found one. It wasn't just truckers. I have one of his journals right here. Let me read you an entry from 2004. Spoke to a man today, a retired park ranger named Bill. Worked in the Allegheny National Forest in the 80s. Said one winter, he got a call about an abandoned car on a fire road. Snowed in. He went to check it out. Inside, he found a woman, frozen to death. Hypothermia, the coroner said. But Bill said it was wrong. Her car was full of gas. It started right up. She had blankets, winter gear. No reason for her to freeze. But the strangest thing? The inside of her car was covered in tiny, muddy handprints. And the door locks, they were all broken from the inside, as if she had desperately, frantically been trying to get out. There are more stories like that. A family in a secluded farmhouse in Ohio in 1972 found dead of carbon monoxide poisoning from a generator. But the farmhouse windows were all smashed from the inside. A priest in New Mexico who heard a confession from a dying woman who swore she let 2 children into her home during a sandstorm, and that they had drank the light from her husband. Silas had a map of the United States pinned to a corkboard in his RV. A web of red yarn connected the locations of these events. They were all in desolate, lonely places, rest stops, secluded homes, forest roads, places where a person could disappear without a sound. This obsession consumed him. He grew thin, paranoid. He'd call me in the middle of the night, whispering about how he felt like he was being followed, that he'd see them sometimes just standing at the edge of the woods by whatever campground he was in, watching him. The last time I saw him, he looked like a ghost. He gave me the shoe box. He told me he was getting close to an answer, that all the lines on his map were converging on a single point, a place he had to go. He said they weren't just random encounters. He believed they were drawn to something. Desperation, loneliness, deep, profound despair. He thought they fed on it. His final note in the journal is the one that chills me the most. They said they were hungry. I don't think they wanted food. I think they wanted him. His life, his years, his warmth. You don't see old ones. You only ever see the kids. It's a mask, a lure, a perfect disguise to get you to turn the knob, to open the door. Maybe that's how they stay that way. A week after he gave me the box, his RV was found abandoned at a truck stop in Nebraska. The engine was cold, his maps, his notes, everything was gone, except for that single tape left on the dashboard. Silas was gone. No note, no trace, just like Michael Kent. I don't know what happened out there on I-80 all those years ago. But I have this tape, and I have my friend's story. And every time I drive those dark Pennsylvania roads at night, I don't just think of him. I feel the weight of his warning. I see the shadows between the trees, and I wonder what's watching from the quiet places of the world. And I make sure my doors are locked. Because some things, once you let them in, you can never get them to leave.